press on the bell icon to never miss a video from Testbook.
Good afternoon, candidates. Welcome to the group discussion session. Before we begin this session, let us go through the general format. So after the topic is disclosed, all of you will be given 2 minutes to think about the topic and write down the relevant points. After that, the final session of 5 minutes will begin. So the topic for today's group discussion is how is the process of bank mergers promoting Indian economy? Your time starts now. You may begin now.
In 2008, State Bank of India merged with State Bank of Saurashtra. In 2010, it merged with State Bank of Indore. I think bank mergers are leading to globalization. We have a better banking system and it is strengthening Indian banking system. And
they also scale up the business and they increase the number of customers that are under the bank. They also reduce the number of interbank transactions, and that's why we can use the resources somewhere else.
Okay, they also, I think, lead to reduction of non-performing assets, which is an important problem. Like people like Vijay Mallya, which have caused a lot of trouble in the economy, have been are able to tackle with such mergers because aid can be taken from different sectors, etc.
But in the short run, it's beneficial that non-performing assets are reduced. But in the long run, they are not, eliminated from the root cause of being the non-performing assets. Instead, we are borrowing from somewhere else and clearing the non-performing assets. So that's not particularly good in the long run.
I think these mergers will lead to decrease in the loan prices, which will help customers of India. So we are moving toward a better banking system.
But while we are talking about, in one sense, customers being helped, you're neglecting the fact that a lot of ATMs and branches and offices will be shut down, and a lot of people will actually go through a lot of inconvenience.
I think that there won't be shutdown of branches or something. There will be just rename. Also, there is VRS facility for the people who would be inconvenienced.
And in the long run, we see that there won't be reduction of employment at all, but there will be relocation of employment, because if a branch is shut down here, which is not required to cater to the population strength and density in that area, then a new branch will be opened up somewhere else where it is required and it can cater to a larger section of the society.
That takes into consideration what consumers would require. But as you said, the VRS, it actually only applies to people who are above 40 or who have worked for more than 10 years in a branch. So there is a huge manpower which works without being in that radar, which is going to be affected, and it is very difficult to relocate with your families and your resources being in a particular city. So it's not just the consumers who are potential grievance.
I think there are many branches which are concentrated in a single area. So shutting them down and relocating them somewhere where they can cater people better is an efficient move.
Moreover, the age range which you are talking about doesn't really contain people who are very well settled families, and they can be easily relocated, being the size of family being small for that age group, which is below 40.
Yeah, I think it is for the greater good, because we are moving toward a better system. People can relocate for the betterment of India.
Also, I think that due to bank mergers, liquidity of the money in the economy is also increased. So the banks don't have to run to RBI every now and then. That increases load on them also. Also, there is end to unhealthy competition between public sector banks.
I don't think the competition is unhealthy, because if we have all studied economics, we know that competition generally leads to more innovation and creativity, especially in the banking sector. Otherwise, there would be monopoly in the markets of banking.
I think if banks merge, there will be unity between them, and they would be driven through a common force for the betterment of India. So there would be no competition, but they would be working for the betterment of India.
More than competition, the goal, if the banks merge, the growth will be the common goal rather than growing my own bank.
Moreover, if we see that all these banks are governed by RBI at some level, so if they are under an umbrella organization of a bigger brand, so it's easier for them to perform and achieve their targets.
And with these mergers, SBI has risen to 44th rank in the world. So it really
1 minute to go.
Something very huge.
But that also brings back the point about why it is in one sense effective, because in India we have multiple small weak public sector banks, and we can in a way do away with them and have few number of strong public sector banks. So in that sense I agree with you.
Okay, so just to conclude what we have discussed here, I think
Last 30 seconds.
I think we need we need the bank merging, but there have to be more than 2-3 banks which are merged, so that the concentration of power and money isn't with one entity, but there is scope for growth and there are options and there is no monopoly.
Moreover, this process needs to be gradual instead of being, haphazard, so that people have enough and more time to plan out their career and other things which are at stake.
Agree.